he's already better than these guys. He's already better than these C rank hunters. He's already stronger than these guys. And soon enough, he's going to be creeping towards that S rank hunter status. So Sung Jin Woo, he's got a little way to go, but he's on the right trajectory. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Spenmo Rex Speaks. We appreciate you sticking with us. Appreciate you subscribing, liking. Make sure you do all that good stuff. It definitely helps more than you'd know. So smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. I really appreciate that. And now, on this episode, I'm going to break down episode 5 of Solo Leveling. It's called A Pretty Good Deal. And this was kind of a slower episode. There wasn't much going on, but you saw some of the inner workings and what it's building towards as a whole, especially when it comes to Sung Jin Woo and how his body is responding to his reawakening, how his body is responding to this new power that he found. You see him, it starts off with him in the hospital. All the nurses are like, oh my God, he's so hot. Look at this guy. Look at how buff he is. He's so hot. And it really starts to play a factor of him becoming the Riz Master. Like he gets one of little nurse baddie's phone number right as it starts. But honestly, this shows that people are noticing like his body transformation from being this little weakling at the beginning of the series to what he's turning into now. It's not only the nurses that recognize like, oh shit, dude's getting pretty swole in there doing his workouts. It's also his sister when he comes home. She's like, damn, you've been working out? Damn, you're taller than you used to be, too. And this is a factor of the reawakening. This is a factor of him putting not only those points into strength, but doing his daily quests where he has to do the 100 push ups, 100 sit ups, 100 squats, and the 10-kilometer run. It just keeps building and he keeps getting stronger and he keeps enhancing his body. And we know that this is building him towards greatness. This is building him towards the Sung Jin Woo in his prime, where he's flipping people off and he's summoning a bunch of stuff, and we know what it's going to build towards, but it's cool to see it going on right now. And also in this episode, you see Baek Yoon Ho, who is the guild master of the White Tiger Guild. He kind of gets introduced a little bit. He was there in the beginning in the first episode, but you didn't hear his name or anything. And he's getting interviewed by the Hunter TV, and they're asking him, what he does. He's pretty much word for word what Sung Jin Woo is doing right now to become the next S tier hunter, because there's only 7 S tier hunters in Korea, and he is one of them. That being Baek Yoon Ho, the guild master of the White Tigers. And he says, like, I train every day. When I'm not fighting in dungeons, when I'm not doing that, I have to train every day to keep my strength up, to keep myself on point. And you see that that's what Sung Jin Woo is doing to become to that level. To get to that level, he's following that same kind of game plan, that same schematic, where the dude's been working out every day. He's getting bigger, he's getting stronger, and different things like that. So I thought that was a little cool nod to the fact that what he's doing is what all of these good hunters, what all of these top tier hunters have to do to get that strength. And you see it starting to accumulate in Sung Jin Woo. And then he goes back home. He helps out his sister, and he's late on rent. Classic problem. Man needs some cash, so he gets a job in a dungeon, where that's where hunters make their money. They get hired to do different dungeons, and he got lucky because he's still an E rank hunter, so he can't take these B, C, A rank dungeons because he's not strong enough and they won't let him. Nobody is going to walk around, build a party going for a B rank dungeon and be like, oh shit, an E rank hunter, literally called the weakest hunter in all mankind. Yeah, let's bring him onto our party and share some of our money with him. Like, no, they're not going to do that. And he doesn't want to reclassify yet because he already had the Hunter Association asking him if it was a reawakening, testing him to see what's going on. And nobody else in the Hunter universe has this like video game like system like he does, where you keep leveling up and you keep establishing those stat points and moving forward and stuff like that. So he doesn't really want to put a target on his back yet by reclassifying, because if they see that and he's like, yeah, I just keep getting stronger, I keep leveling up, I can just keep going, that's going to put a target on his back, and he's not strong enough yet to kind of protect himself from that kind of stigma or that kind of eyes on him. So he doesn't do that yet. He just sticks with being an E rank hunter, but he lucks out. He lucks out. There's a team of mercenaries that are going into a C rank dungeon, and they just need him to be a pack mule so they can meet the quota of 8 people to join the dungeon. So they have him come along, and he's just basically their bag bitch. Like he's just carrying their bags for the whole dungeon. And then when they get further and further in, they start getting attacked by these bugs. It's like random bug. It's a bug dungeon, insect dungeon, and he's the one who knows what they are. He senses it before everybody else. He knows where they're coming from when the other guys are kind of freaking out because they can't see and they don't know where the enemy's coming from. And that's already more leaning into like, all right, this Sung Jin Woo is already better than these C tier guys. He's better than these C tier hunters. He is more knowledgeable. He's stronger. He has better sense. He has better intuition in the dungeons. And the one guy he's with that gets introduced, Yoo Jin Ho. And we know going forward, he is a big character. He becomes one of Sung Jin Woo's closest allies throughout this series is Yoo Jin Ho. And this is the first episode where he gets introduced. And him and Sung Jin Woo are the outsiders that join this party to raid the dungeon. And he's not too good, but he's got daddy money, so he's got fresh armor, fresh sword, fresh shield. He's looking pretty nice because he's got that blang blang walking around the dungeon, even though he's kind of a bitch. But he's a cool character, and we know that, well, if you have read this, you know that he becomes one of the, main protagonists throughout the story. He is one of Sung Jin Woo's closest allies throughout the story, and this was our first meeting him in the anime. It was our first time meeting him, so it was cool to see that. But then they're going along, they beat the bugs, they get down to the boss room, and there's a bunch of mana crystals, which you can make some serious cash. But, oh, surprise, surprise, they didn't bring the equipment needed to haul these mana crystals. So they leave the two weakest hunters in the boss's den by themselves and dip to go get their supplies. But it flashes back, and Sung Jin Woo has kind of had he's had thoughts about these guys the whole time he's been in the dungeon. He's like, all right, shit, something's not right. And he was right, because he was told by old boy in the first episode, like, it gets a little slimy in these dungeons. It gets a little grimy. Like, people will do you dirty. People will leave you for dead. There's no laws down there. There's no cameras. Accidents happen. People die. So some people take advantage of that, and they take advantage of weaker people, and they kill them off. And that's exactly what these guys did. These guys left Sung Jin Woo and Yoo Jin Ho in the boss's den, destroyed the entrance and caved it in so they can't escape, which woke up the boss, which is this giant spider. It's a C-level rank boss. And so they're like, oh, well, we're a D and an E rank hunter. How are we going to kill this guy? And Sung Jin Woo basically has his Gojo moment. He's like, nah, I'd win. And it ends with him walking towards this giant spider because he realizes, like, well, at first he thinks, oh, it's us against the C-rank dungeon boss. Like, we can't do this. This guy's way too strong. And then he has a flashback of the fucking statues. He's like, oh, man, this spider's light work. I went up against those motherfuckers. Like, this guy's nothing for me. So it ends with him grabbing that dagger that he got from killing the snake and walking towards that spider. So the next episode is going to start off with some wild shit. It's going to be wild. There's going to be fights. It's going to be electric. It's going to be him versus the spider one-on-one. One-on-one combat with a boss going nuts for the whole episode. So I can't wait for that. And this episode did a lot, I think, for backstory and kind of showing the trajectory of Sung Jin Woo and how he's better than these C-rank guys. And you see he's doing the same things that the S-rank hunters did to gain their strength. And it also introduced Yoo Jin Ho, who's a very important character in the story going forward. So it wasn't the most action-packed episode, but the next one is going to be nice. It's going to be a nice fight scene to start it off, and we'll see going forward what happens. But this episode was important to kind of get the backstory of his ascent to what he's going to be, of him creeping towards that Shadow Monarch status where he's already better than these guys. He's already better than these C-rank hunters. He's already stronger than these guys. And soon enough, he's going to be creeping towards that S-rank hunter status. So Sung Jin Woo, he's got a little way to go, but he's on the right trajectory. And I appreciate you all for listening to this episode breakdown. Make sure you smash that like button. Next episode I got coming out is going to be my top 10 strongest One Piece characters. I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be building my One Piece Tournament of Power, and that should be out on Tuesday. So appreciate y'all tapping in. Make sure you smash that like button, and we'll see you guys later.